A stable 72-degree reading on a data center floor is often an illusion. Without full visibility into the thermal path, that steady temperature might hide a mechanical system running on the absolute brink of failure. Mechanical commissioning removes this ambiguity. It operates as a rigid, chronological risk retirement framework, requiring us to prove the underlying physics before we evaluate how a system responds to a failure. This thermal state map illustrates why complete visibility is necessary. The validation must track the entire thermal path linearly, from the initial IT heat generation at state point 1 all the way through the sequence to final heat rejection at point 6. Every validation procedure relies on a strict testing boundary. You need an approved initial state and exactly one controlled disturbance. Furthermore, no script begins without a named stop work authority and a clearly defined restoration owner physically present on site. You simply cannot test an undefined system. By strictly enforcing these boundaries, we ensure that a single localized oversight, like one miscalibrated sensor, cannot escalate into a catastrophic facility-wide cascade. The pass and fail values for these tests are dictated by a strict regulatory hierarchy. Local authorities having jurisdiction control life safety. ASHRAE dictates exact measurement uncertainty, and Uptime or TIA 942C governs the topological requirements. But a valid calibration certificate is entirely useless if the physical placement of the instrument is flawed. We rely on precise physical instrumentation. This requires verifying straight pipe runs for ultrasonic flow meters and ensuring proper immersion depth for Class A PT100 RTDs to capture actionable data. This root-sum-square equation is the mathematical burden of proof for any heat balance experiment. Combining a 1% flow uncertainty and 0.4% delta T uncertainty mandates a strict 1.1% decision guard band for all accepted results. If the measured result plus its combined root-sum-square uncertainty guard band falls outside the project's required criteria, the multi-million-dollar test is mathematically invalid. Looking at this diagnostic control grid, the commissioning progression is mapped across a sequential series of color-coded gates, where every phase closes the specific risks identified in the preceding step. The physical proof begins at Level 3 Factory Acceptance Testing, or the CXL1 gate. Here we validate the staging logic and structural integrity of chillers and programmable logic controllers under extreme design limits before the equipment ever leaves the factory. This pre-commissioning chart outlines the CXL2A red and CXL2B yellow gates. Once on site, we execute sequential loop mapping, deploy temporary strainers, and enforce strict closed-loop water chemistry tolerances to prevent heat exchanger fouling. This duty point graph plots pump head against system head. Pump functional testing verifies the operating point provides required flow exactly where these curves intercept. Operating outside this intersection results in dangerous mechanical conditions like cavitation, unstable flow patterns, or motor overload. After confirming the hydraulics, we enter the green gate, initiating the black start lubrication interlock. Here, auxiliary oil pumps must completely stabilize the bearing lubrication loops before the rapid start compressor is allowed to fire. Proving these baseline mechanics and fluid chemistries is the only way to ensure the physical plant can survive the aggressive functional performance testing to come. Entering the blue gate for functional performance testing, we strictly reject linear ambient weather corrections. All field data must be normalized using approved OEM and AHRI methods. CRAH validation requires the simultaneous capture of airflow, delta T, and valve position. Recording these independently invalidates the test by masking dangerous bypass routes. We then introduce heat load testing. This operates as a strict physics experiment, requiring the deployment of server-proportioned electrical heater banks to replicate spatial airflow patterns and intake hotspots. This diagram illustrates the core requirement of heat load testing, mathematically reconciling applied electrical heat against hydronic heat. We prohibit adjusting unverified sensor offsets to force the math to close. The test advances only when thermal stability is proven during the hold period. During the continuous 24 to 72-hour heat soak, we conduct an aisle integrity stress test. By physically removing containment panels at full load, we force the floor cooling fans to dynamically reroute airflow in real time. Heat load testing mathematically verifies that the theoretical engineering capacity exactly matches actual spatial heat rejection, securing the physics before any IT equipment enters the space. The process concludes with the White Gate Level 5 integrated systems testing. The focus shifts entirely from basic capacity proof to evaluating dynamic resilience and fault injection under 100% load. This timeline maps a sudden utility disconnection. In the millisecond window, supercapacitors maintain telemetry. In the seconds window, generators start smoothly, preventing simultaneous motor restarts. In the minutes window, thermal tanks absorb the IT heat load while chillers ramp back up. Integrated systems testing proves the facility's autonomous ability to bridge the highly volatile gap between a millisecond electrical loss and a minute-long thermal lag. PID loop step response tuning evaluates control logic, verifying the system's ability to handle abrupt fluctuations. By forcing set-in mechanical step changes, we prove the control loops can rapidly dampen and stabilize temperature hunting within exactly 3 oscillation cycles. We then introduce hydraulic shockproofing, testing the piping system's resilience to immense transient physical forces. During the leak isolation test, fast-acting motorized valves snap close under 30 seconds during an active pump step-down, creating extreme water hammer forces. We execute PLC bumpless transfers and CRAH module failovers. Dropping the active supervisory controller verifies that standby controllers take over smoothly, without freezing the mechanical plant or allowing fan backflow. True fault tolerance only exists when the mechanical infrastructure survives these violent shocks and immediately drops back to hard-coded local control without human intervention. Every physical performance claim must mathematically link back to an immutable, synchronized time-based record within the data historian evidence chain. When a test fails, operators follow a strict troubleshooting protocol. The issue is raised, classified, assessed, assigned, corrected, retested under the exact same parameters, and finally closed. In extreme life safety edge cases like NFPA fire and smoke scenarios, the system totally ignores standard BMS software speed reductions. Under the emergency run-to-destruction mandate, fire alarm matrices force smoke exhaust fans into hardwired bypass loops, prioritizing life safety above the survival of the fan motor and ignoring thermal overloads. Following a suppression event, the post-gas purge test verifies scavenger loops can entirely evacuate concentrated clean agents, returning the room to safe baseline thresholds. Schedule pressure never justifies accepting missing safety parameters. If the raw data does not mathematically reconcile, the test is permanently invalid. The final phase is CXL6 handover. At the core of this phase is the systems manual, functioning as the ultimate translation of design limits into usable operations. Operational competency sign-off must be strictly performance-based. True competency is demonstrated through live fault isolation drills, not merely confirmed by attendance. Following any drill or test, rigid restoration protocols dictate exactly how the facility is returned to a protected normal lineup, ensuring the definitive clearing of all temporary overrides and stale alarms. The final readiness record is both a physical map and a mathematical proof. It guarantees that the multi-million-dollar facility has retired all operational risk before the first live server is ever deployed.